That the multi-billion rand Lesotho Highlands Water Project has been derailed and delayed. He says a project of that magnitude cannot be fiddled with and there is no cause for panic.
The white gold of Lesotho and one of the country's two key revenue earners, the Lesotho Highlands Water Project is home to the world's most valuable future commodity, water, and its milestones are celebrated the world over. The current estimated cost of Phase 2 of the project, Pudihadi Dam to be built in Mogotlong, is 22.9 billion. Phase 1 opened up the previously rural highlands of Lesotho with tarred roads and power lines, built a hydropower project, opened supply of potable water, and created many jobs. Now consultants and engineers in Lesotho and South Africa follow developments closely, hoping to get a piece of the promised 50-50 equal benefit. So news of any delays cause some amount of discomfort, but the Mountain Kingdom's Prime Minister says there is no cause for panic.
Evidence is that bids are being invited for the procurement of advanced projects and contracts are being awarded. People are only thinking about the dam construction, but it has to be preceded by advanced infrastructure.
To date, 8 advanced infrastructure contracts have been awarded, including demarcation of the dam site, design and supervision of access roads and housing, and geotechnical services for the tunnel to transfer water. But construction of the dam wall is expected to be complete to start collecting water in the year 2023-2024, while additional water from Pudihadi will be transferred to South Africa beginning 2024-2025. Nthakoana Ngatane, SABC News.
Now for more on the story, we are now joined in studio by our correspondent Nthakoana Ngatane. Nthakoana, thank you so much for joining us. Now you've covered the story for some time. What's your understanding regarding delays around the project?
Well, as the Prime Minister says, and I guess we have to believe him, there are no delays, but reports that had come out were that the governments or the government of South Africa and the government of Lesotho politically were interfering with the running of the project. I think one of the things that came up was the leaving of the delegates of both sides. Now, you will know that the structure of the running of the project is such that there is something called the Lesotho Highlands Water Commission, and on that commission you have commissioners, one from South Africa and one from Lesotho. They're called delegates, and both of the delegates left the commission, and there were issues regarding Dr. Zodwa Dlamini, who is the delegate, or who was the delegate for South Africa, and the delegate for Lesotho, Dr. Charles Putswane. Now, those issues are still going on. So based on that, then we had allegations that the two governments were meddling in the running of the project. So these are just some of the concerns that we had. Now, we understand that the public protector on the South African side is investigating, and yes, we're waiting to find out whether in fact there was meddling. But as I say, if the Prime Minister is to be believed, he says there are no delays and there is no cause for panic.
Now, no cause for panic, no delays. What are the reasons behind both delegates leaving? Politically motivated, or is it just a misunderstanding or disagreement within that delegation?
Well, as I say, I personally spoke to Dr. Zodwa Dlamini the day before the hearing with the public protector and the minister. And at that point in time, she was not willing to comment on any of the issues in terms of her leaving or what the issues were regarding the involvement of the public protector. But what we understood with Dr. Putswane was that he was offered an exit package. Whether that was willingly or voluntarily, again, is a matter that is still under review in Lesotho and still ongoing in Lesotho. So these are issues that at this point in time, we cannot say whether or not they are or not politically motivated. I guess we have to wait for both processes to come to finality for us to know exactly what the issues were.
Now, has there been any indication with regards to the public protector's inquiry as to how long it will take? Just considering the fact that this project, and looking at the wall, saying that it has to be up and running by 2023. This is a delay.
Well, Again, as I say, as you've heard also in the report, and we spoke to the Lesotho Highlands Development Authority, which is the running authority for the project. The phase 1 management of the project says no. We have now issued contracts. We are continuing to issue more contracts, demarcation of the dam site, advanced infrastructure, and as the Prime Minister says, kind of delaying fears, he says, no. The way the project happens, as it did with phase 1 of the project, you will have an advanced infrastructure that includes roads to the dam site, that includes electricity, that includes geotechnical design, consultancies that happen before the actual dam construction happens. So according to him, he says, no, just because the dam has not started now doesn't mean that wasn't the plan. The plan is in fact to have advanced infrastructure in place before you can have the dam constructed. So as far as the government of Lesotho is concerned, and as I say, if we can believe what they say, everything is on track and should happen as it was intended to.
Now, the Department of Water and Sanitation South Africa seemingly have their own take on this issue. Take us through this issue, their take.
Well, the Department of Water in South Africa at this point in time, all I can say is that the minister had confirmed that she would be talking to the public protector, but in terms of the nitty-gritties of what they would be discussing, she did not want to comment on that according to the media reports that we heard. And also the public protector's office had said that it was not willing, as it doesn't when it is involved in cases, comment on the ongoings and how long the processes are supposed to take.
What sort of impact will these delays have on both countries, South Africa and Lesotho?
Well, I think one has to look at what happened in Lesotho with phase 1 in order to perhaps look at what could happen if there were delays. Again, if there were delays, yeah. If you look at Lesotho, for instance, Lesotho was growing, the economy was growing at about 3.5%. When phase 1 of the project came into being, the economy went up the growth by about 5%. Now, 16,000 jobs were created. Lots of roads networks, as I said, lots of bridges, as you saw in some of the visuals. The country itself was opened up. The economy was opened up. One of the byproducts of this project is tourism, because some of the views that you see of Lesotho you wouldn't be able to see if those roads did not exist. So it is a huge impact in terms of the development of the country. Now, when you look at the second phase of the project, which is the Pudihadi Dam, you're looking to add another supply of water to South Africa, which is much needed. But also in Lesotho itself, you're looking at a project that is worth about 22.9 million as the phase 2, a billion, rather 22.9 billion as phase 2 management says at cost now. And when you look at those things and the impact that they will have on the economies of both countries in terms of industry, in terms of moving the countries forward, if there were delays, and again, you look at contractors and engineers who are hoping to get work, they have been promised that there will be 50-50 procurement for Lesotho and South Africa, and they are the ones who are actually saying we need to see something happening because we need to understand how we're going to benefit, we need to understand when we are going to get the work. So some of the concerns that are being raised, we understand, are actually coming from the consultants and the engineers who are saying, well, we were expecting that by now we would be hearing what kind of work we would be getting. So these are the kind of impact, or this is the kind of impact that could happen for both countries if the project was delayed. It would be a delay with the transfer of water to South Africa, and it would be delay with the economic development of Lesotho.
Just going back to what Prime Minister Mosisidi said in the package, where he said there is no delay. Looking at that and having spoken to contractors who are on the ground waiting to hear which direction they need to go and what they need to do, are we sort of putting a blind eye, or are we just paintbrushing over it?
Well, I don't know, Lulu, but what I can tell you is that, as I say, contractors on the ground are really saying, as far as we are concerned, or as far as we had been informed, by now we should have been able to understand when housing is happening, if it is in advanced infrastructure time, when the roads are happening, where the roads are happening, and so on and so forth. And that doesn't seem to be happening as quickly as it was intended to. And this is where some of the concerns are coming from. But again, as I say, we really can't say from where we stand. We can only wait, I suppose, and see as the project unfolds whether or not there are delays. And of course, one of the things that we didn't mention in terms of the impact of the delay would be the cost of the project itself, because I mean, as you know, when it was signed in 2014, prices probably were much lower than they would be at the time that the project will probably come to fruition.
Nthakoana, thank you so much for joining us. This is definitely a story that we are going to be following, and we know you're going to be giving us some updates as time goes on. That was our reporter Nthakoana Ngatane giving us the latest on the Lesotho Highlands Water Project. She is our SABC foreign correspondent.